FMDQ is known for championing laudable market development initiatives across the financial market space. And yet again, we're set and we're ready as the ETD, that's the exchange traded derivatives market, goes live today. And to talk us through the ETD market, I have with me the Senior Vice President Business Development of FMDQ Exchange, that's Mrs. Jumoke Olaniyo, and the Managing Director of FMDQ Clear, Mr. Ayodele Onawumi, to talk us through the ETD market space. Hello, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, how are you?
Good to have you.
Thank you.
First, I need to put that out that say congratulations to the FMDQ, to the whole exchange, for another and yet a laudable milestone that we will be seeing today that's set to go to life in the market today. I've witnessed quite a number of, and then this again is coming up, and that's quite impressive.
Thank you very much. We're very much excited about it as well.
Yeah, very much. So briefly, could you talk us through the FMDQ Exchange journey towards developing the exchange traded derivatives market?
The journey. It's been a very interesting one. It's been 5 years plus in the making. Started back as far back as 2016, actually, where it was clear to us that the market needed exchange-traded derivatives.
Yeah.
Basically, the market needed hedge products to be able to hedge the various risk that investors face or participants in this market experience.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've seen that global markets have are standardized exchange-traded derivatives markets. And I want to distinguish because it didn't mean that derivatives did not exist in this market today. I mean, the banks already offer forwards, swaps, but having it on an exchange was a different type of product and a different ball game altogether.
Right.
And so we wanted to establish one in Nigeria. And in the typical manner in which we do things at FMDQ, we sought to learn, first of all, what did we need to do? And what we did is we studied different exchange-traded derivatives globally to identify what they needed, what was successful about them. And then we came home and said, okay, fine, since we now know what needs to be done to build an exchange-traded derivatives market, of all the things we need, how many do we have?
Yeah,
right. What is lacking? What is remaining? So we first of all conducted what we call a feasibility study. And what it was about was let us do in-depth research into the requirements of building a vibrant and successful exchange-traded derivatives market. And from that, identify what we have and therefore what we need to do to get the market going. And so we had that activated in 2016, and it ran through. It was very robust session, very robust stream of sessions, because the feasibility study involved engaging stakeholders across the market, including regulators, participants, and the likes. And so from the feasibility study, we identified all the building blocks.
Yeah.
With these building blocks, we typically structure them in like 4 or 5 buckets. There was the legal and regulatory building block that we needed to work on. There was the participants themselves, as in what do they need to have to be able to participate in that market. And then there was the market infrastructure, which is the platforms where this product will trade, clear, and settle.
Yeah.
And then education. Very big bucket, because we couldn't, it came out as a very key pillar on something that we needed to work on. And fifth one, forgive me, was technology as something to run on. And that's what the way the project, which is what is now coming to, the headway and the launch of the product today, was structured as working all these work streams, working on all these requirements,
getting them ready.
Over these years.
The market launches.
Yes, before the market launch.
Very well
Thank
said.
you.
Yeah, okay, you've spoken so much about the why, and now what exactly is what I want to talk about now. What are the benefits? I mean, what exactly is the benefits of the launch of the FMDQ ETD market, and what difference is it bringing to the Nigerian financial market space?
Oh, a lot. If you recall, I started with talking about the fact that every market has volatility.
Yeah.
interest rate volatility, exchange rate volatility, commodity price volatility, inflation impacts all of these things, monetary policy.
No, I was saying equity price
equity price risk. So there's just different things, you know, that
speaks to the benefits.
That creates volatility. And the idea is, so if you're a participant in this market, do you just fold your hands and watch and say, oh, well, there's volatility, there's nothing I can do about it? Or are there tools you can use to be able to protect yourself against that volatility? It's just the same way you buy a car and you get an insurance, right?
Yeah, right.
That's exactly what, in a manner, you know, the exchange traded derivatives are. And so the benefit of bringing an exchange traded derivatives market was to, first of all, introduce another set of products that participants in the market can use to hedge and mitigate the various financial market risk they're exposed to. But also having it as an exchange traded derivatives market brings on the added benefit of, one, being traded on an exchange means a lot more participants and therefore a lot more liquidity and therefore better pricing. Being on an exchange also meant governance because there will be rules guiding anyone who participates in this market space. Bringing it on an exchange meant transparency, which means because the prices will be published and what the volumes, the values of trades and transactions in that market space would be published. And perhaps maybe one of the biggest for me is the risk management that would underline that product is a big plus for exchange traded derivatives market, because then you literally can go to bed because your derivatives are well protected.
Definitely. That's one thing that I think that will stand out for me as well as the benefit, because of, apart from the transparency that it brings to the market as well, it speaks so much about the hedging the risk that are involved. You've spoken so much about the what's, and that's the benefit. You give us an hint as to what we're going to talk about next, which are the products exactly. But just before I come to you, let me come to Mr. Ayodele. You play a crucial role, or FMDQ Clear will be playing a crucial role in the launch and as this product goes live, or as the ETD goes live. So exactly, could you speak to the role FMDQ Clear will be playing as regards the ETD market?
Okay, that's interesting. You know, if you use Jumoke's earlier example about the insurance, you get a car, you want to insure it. There's a reason why you check what insurance company you use. So you don't want a situation where the person managing your risk for you is not credible. So what FMDQ Clear brings essentially is credibility around the risk management of the product you are using to manage your risk. So essentially, as people will trade on a daily basis, what tends to happen is that you would then have some level of counterparty risk. What Jumoke has spoken to earlier on about the volatility in the market, prices could get to levels whereby the counterparty who you have hedged with is incentivized to run away. So what we have here is a CCP, FMDQ Clear, who would stand in the middle to ensure the contracts are good. It stands in the middle to ensure that regardless of where prices move to, it stands in the market to ensure that regardless of what the volatility becomes, because of our processes we have put in place, because of the technology we've deployed, and of course, because of the financial resources we have, it stands there to ensure that your contracts stay intact, regardless of where volatilities go. And speaking of the things we're able to leverage, and I talked about technology, I would like to spend a bit more time. I mean, imagine you're talking about someone who's guaranteeing your future. We want to be sure that the person has capacity. And one of the most interesting things we've done here in FMDQ is, first of all, our board has already authorized us to raise our capital such that we have a default resolution reserve. That is there to ensure in the event, or in the unlikely event that there's a default, we have enough resources to make the counterparties whole. Right now, that reserve is north of $20 million, and we still have a mandate to grow that a whole lot more. So for us, we think that is where the credibility lies. Not forgetting the risk management processes that I've spoken about earlier on, and also the experience. We've, till date, from the inception of the other OTCFX futures products, we've cleared about $61 billion worth of transactions. So we're not new to the business of clearing. Now, layer on that, the resources we have and the technology we're running, we're positioned to de-risk the Nigerian financial market and essentially bring these products the way they should be to the Nigerian people.
In other words, with FMDQ Clear, we're good. We're sorted.
Trust me.
Like everyone is good. All right. So let's speak to this product. You have also mentioned the product. So let's even hear this particular product that we're talking about. So there are two pioneer products that will be launched. What are the products?
Yeah. So we're starting with FGN bond futures. So those are futures that are you're going to be able to use to hedge whatever risk you're exposed to if you have a portfolio in FGN bonds or interest rates by application. That's a bit more technical. Don't let me run into that. So yes, but we're going to have FGN bond futures, and we have 5 contracts across the FGN bond futures product. And then we have foreign exchange futures. And I know everybody's going to be very interested in that.
That's the one. Even when I was off camera, I was talking about it. I said that the FX is one that's probably interesting.
And I mean, just as it says, it's going to be one you can use to hedge your exchange rate risk. If you're in the market, if you're exposed to any exchange rate risk, you will do that. And of course, that's the dollar to the naira FX future, and it's going to be 12 contracts that will be on the system.
Now, so what are the users of this product?
As wide as you can imagine. So let me start with the FGN bond futures. If you recall, FGN bond futures, like I mentioned, have a very close and direct relationship to interest rates. So basically, anyone who has exposure to interest rates has a use for FGN bond futures. So we're talking of banks themselves, we're talking of corporate institutions, we're talking of asset managers, fund managers, insurance companies, pension funds. Generally, anyone who has interest rate risk can use the FMDQ FGN bond futures. Now, if we talk about FX,
yes,
I mean,
let's bring it on.
It's the same thing. Anyone who has an FX or foreign exchange risk exposure as well can use the product. Interesting, it's probably the same class of people, but I guess the corporates will probably be the biggest bulk or set of people. But the banks themselves, foreign portfolio investors or foreign direct investors into the country, corporates in Nigeria who, for any reason, have FX need and therefore are exposed to that. I won't count out foreign, maybe asset managers and the likes, if for any reason they have investments in that have foreign exchange elements to it. Just generally, if you had a need for FX in the official market in Nigeria and you are therefore exposed to that exchange rate risk, then that product is one that you can use.
Just a sidebar to this thing.
Yes.
Entrepreneurs, where do they play?
Well, entrepreneurs, I call them corporates. Don't mind me, okay? But let's
bring it on.
Let's be correct.
Yeah.
Corporates, SMEs, businesses, as long as you have a legitimate foreign exchange need where you can buy the FX in the official market, then it's the same thing. You can use this product.
Now let's hear from you as regards your track record. That's the FMDQ Clear track record. What are the significant milestones recorded by FMDQ Clear and in its journey from its registration as a central counterpart to date in the ETD market space?
Okay, I'd help there with us backtracking a little before the registration as a central counterparty. But from when the OTC FX futures product that Jumoke spoke about came to light, there was a need, to clear and settle those products as far back as 2016. And that was outsourced initially. But then when FMDQ Clear was set up, it was now brought in-house, and then that activity was being done in-house. But at that point, all we were doing was clearing and settlement, which is essentially aggregating what are the sums due and ensuring on delivery date those sums are paid. But then, and the reason why that was happening was because the market wasn't ready for a CCP. There were a few things that are not in place. So when we talk about the journey to a CCP, we also need to talk about the role the SEC has played as regulator in bringing in place or putting in place regulations to support this, as well as the laws that were passed, the Company and Allied Matters Act of 2020. By the time those two key things happened, I think the trigger had been pulled for a CCP to take off. And it's important to note that without the CCP in existence, your derivatives market cannot thrive. because of the counterparty risk in derivative products. It's important for a CCP to exist before your derivative market will thrive. And those critical pillars had to be put in place. The SEC regulation of December 2019, yeah. And then the August 2020 Company and Allied Matters Act. And once those two were in place, we already had a license, but as a clearing and settlement institution. But once those two were in place, we put in our application, and then we got our license as that was June 2021 actually, as a central counterparty from the SEC. And once that was in place, we just started layering all of the things that we require to operate essentially as a robust CCP.
Yeah, right. Now, finally, I mean, I would love to even take you up from one of those things you said, but let's keep that. And then what will be the role of clearing members in the FMDQ ETD market space? Okay.
Our clearing members are our partners. They are the ones who, because we cannot relate with everybody within the market, they're the ones who relate with other people on our behalf. So we've painstakingly chosen them. We've looked at their credibility, not just when I say credibility, I say that with a lot of responsibility. I'm talking about the size of the balance sheet, the ability to take on risk. Because what they do in the market is, remember I said the CCP stands good for transactions. Yeah. They stand with us. So they also put at risk their balance sheet with us to ensure the integrity of the market, to ascertain or ensure the integrity of the market. So their role is they will be the ones who would interface with the CCP and then interface on the trading side with the various trading members and the clients who are the end users of the product that Jumoke spoke about.
Right. Are we expecting to see other products? I mean, we're launching with this two. What other products should we be expecting to see?
I mean, think of any product now that is traded in Nigerian financial markets, and in an exchange-traded derivatives contract can be made off them. Treasury bill futures, automobile futures, equity futures, index futures, diesel futures, petrol futures, PMS futures. Any product really you can create an ETD contract off the back of them. So yes, while we will start with this, and I mean these have products that have two things: met our product development framework and as well as immediate need in the market space. Our job going forward will continue to be to work very closely with our stakeholders to continue to identify what should be the next product, what is the next need in the market, and bring those to the market space. And I must say that we're well positioned to do that, working with the regulators, working with the CCP, FMDQ Clear, and our stakeholders in the markets. I must not forget them because they've been with us every single step of this journey to developing this market space, providing information, responding to exposure drafts, brainstorming with us in some cases. So yeah, in the near future, as the market develops and grows, there will be more products brought to the market, either because even the stakeholders in the market themselves come to the exchange and say, we need this product now, or even the exchange itself identifies this and brings to the market.
That happens.
Oh yes, it does. It does. It can be, the drive for market development can happen from either direction. It can be the participants themselves. Remember that they are the ones in the market and they are the ones experiencing it and you know what is happening. So they can be the one to trigger to say, let's get this going next. Or the exchange itself can be the one to bring it up in conjunction and collaboration with the market participants.
All right, very well, thank you. Are there any other things you would like us to know about the ETD market that is launching, that goes live today?
Well, I think we've spoken about it all. I think what I would like to maybe say is, the excitement is a lot because, as you imagine, we've put in a lot of work into this. But I think it's useful at this point to thank the regulators, the SEC, the Central Bank, the Debt Management Office. We're doing FGM bond futures. Our members, the banks, the daily member banks, dealer brokers, various stakeholders. There are too many to mention because we really work with a lot of people on this, for going on this journey with us, and and taking us on this journey, believing in the idea and the value that it's going to bring to the Nigerian financial market. So at FMDQ, we have this agreement that we're trying to build a gold market, a market that is globally competitive, operationally excellent, liquid and diverse. And we believe that what we're delivering today with regards to the FMDQ exchange traded derivatives market is taking us even closer to that dream of having a gold market in the Nigerian financial market. So thank you to all of them, and we wish you all the best. We look forward to having a vibrant exchange traded derivatives market.
Yes, thank you very much. I would have loved to take your final notes. Do you have any other thing to say?
I think the only thing I would say is this is a win for the Nigerian financial market.
All right.
I think it's a critical milestone, not just for FMDQ, but the market as a whole, because what we've started properly, like Jumoke mentioned, now you can begin to see products. Once they meet certain criteria, we can begin to help de-risk those products. And then we get into the mentality of de-risking the Nigerian financial market as a whole. So again, I would join Jumoke to congratulate the whole Nigerian financial market. And this is a milestone event, and it's a day to remember.
Yeah, well, right. Congratulations to the people that put in the work. Congratulations to you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having this conversation with me. It was great speaking with you and to learn about the ETD market and as it goes live today. For further information, if you'd like to know more about the ETD market, look out for the FMDQ website showing on the screen below, and you would learn or hear or read more about the ETD market. And on that note, I am Oguntoye. Thank you for watching.